Returning to our story, here's Josh Mankiewicz.
It was a very difficult case. It always looked like it was going to be a difficult case.
Prosecutor Cleve Lynch had a circumstantial case on his hands. No gun, no DNA evidence, no witnesses who could say they saw Grace Pianka shoot her husband, Adam Kostevich.
Adam was killed in his own bedroom.
But Lynch believed the facts were clear. Angry and hopeless after learning her husband was having an affair, Grace drained the couple's bank accounts, spent the afternoon drinking, then shot and killed Adam when he came home.
And then she turns up having tried to commit suicide the next day in a really remote location. So that does point to her.
This sheriff's deputy found Grace after that suicide attempt, lying across the seats in her car, an empty bottle of aspirin next to her, and in her purse, what seemed to be a key piece of evidence.
One thing that caught my eye was a empty brass .38 cartridge.
A .38, the same caliber as the bullets that killed Adam. Although without the murder weapon, there was no way to match that casing to the slugs at the crime scene, or to the .38 caliber revolver missing from Adam's collection. And the prosecutor argued there was more hard evidence that showed Adam was indeed leaving Grace for Jen McIntyre, his mistress. There were garbage bags in the entryway filled with Adam's clothes, and what Lynch called a packing list found on Adam's body.
That's when the argument starts, because he's packing up to leave.
Was there evidence of an argument? Remember, a hospital social worker told investigators Grace said there had been hitting and shoving. That story was ruled inadmissible in court, but a nurse testified that she found bruises on Grace's arms. Were they evidence of a fight between Grace and Adam? And, argued the prosecutor, take a close look at Grace's behavior, starting with the testimony of this man, a neighbor who told the court he went to Grace and Adam's house to investigate when he heard a smoke alarm sometime after 7 p.m. the night of the murder. He saw Grace in her car, quickly backing down the driveway.
Her face was wet with tears, and I thought I heard a dog bark, but then she said, shut up, to what I'm guessing was the dog, and then looked back at me and said, it's okay. And she yells at the dog again and just takes off.
And prosecutor Lynch pointed out to the jury, Grace took off with no shoes on her feet, no cell phone. And there was more suspicious behavior on Grace's part. After her suicide attempt, she was interviewed and recorded in the hospital by Detective Hansen and another officer. That tape was played for the jury. On it, Grace repeatedly asks, where is Adam?
Where is Adam?
He's in the hospital. We'll talk about that, okay?
He's in the hospital.
I'm sorry.
Is Adam in the hospital? That's no, because I can't stand it.
She couldn't stand it, argued Lynch, because she knew what she'd done.
She knows something happened to her husband.
And when the detective says Adam's dead, she acts upset, but never asks the questions you'd expect a new widow to ask.
Well, we found Adam in the house.
Okay.
Okay. And he's passed away.
Okay.
Okay.
Is he alive?
He's not alive.
He's not alive?
No.
You gotta be kidding me.
She says, you got to be kidding me. And then she sounds like she's upset for about 15 to 30 seconds, and then they just are asking questions, and this woman does not sound upset.
Home, did you drink?
I drink.
You drink? What did you drink?
I usually don't drink.
I know. Okay, what did you drink that night or that day?
A wine.
Wine?
And tequila.
There was one witness the jury would never hear from, Jen McIntyre, Adam's mistress, the woman who found the body, the woman who called 911. Jen had agreed to testify, but when that day came, she and her husband Bob were nowhere to be found. Investigators from both sides searched but were unable to find them. And no one was happier about that than the defense, because Jen McIntyre's disappearance handed them a different theory of the crime.
She's the mistress. And so you got to think that the mistress can be just as much a likely suspect as the wife.
Grace's defenders called the charges against her a rush to judgment and would point the finger at the other woman in this fatal love triangle.